Mosjøen, a Norwegian town on the edge of the Arctic Circle. It doesn't always look this cold. Every summer, the people of Mosjøen put on a pageant depicting stories from the town's early days. They use the 19th century waterfront terrace of Mosjøen's Skjegata district as a backdrop. It's a history they are proud of, but one that was almost lost. Back in the 1970s, the mayor and the local council wanted to turn Skjegata into a parking lot. A small group of people led a campaign to stop them. Today, 3 key members of that group, Kjell Jakobsen, Hans Pedersen and Dag Nielsen, are our heritage heroes of Mosjøen.
Well, behind us here is a building that seems very small and insignificant, but this is in fact where it all started.
Mosjøen lies in the valley of the river Vesen and is dominated by the town's aluminium plant, powered by hydroelectricity generated from Norway's mountain rivers. In the shadow of the plant, the old quarter of Skjegata, built mainly in the 1860s, when Mosjøen was prized not for its metal, but for wood, exported across the North Sea to England. Today, Hans Pedersen is Director of Museums for Helgeland in northern Norway.
Here, Skjegata preservation area starts.
In the early 70s, Hans was curator of the local museum in Mosjøen. Pedersen says their concern was as much about the welfare of the community as of the buildings.
When we started to restore these houses, we also wanted to help the people who had some social or alcoholic problems. This house in the first floor, an alcoholic lived. We restored this house, and at the same time I got my first office at the bottom floor.
The museum has an exhibition detailing the struggle with the council to save Skjegata. It singles out Mayor Albertsjord, seen here on the left, and Kjell Jakobsen on the right, as representing the two sides of the debate. By the late 1960s, Skjegata was in a state, little better than a slum. The modernising mayor and his council wanted to remove the eyesore. This picture details the Skjegata waterfront as it is today. The mayor's plan was to remove the majority of the buildings to make way for a car park.
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
But the late 60s were a time for radical thought and action among students in Europe. Kjell Jakobsen was a student in Norway's capital, Oslo, at the time. When he returned to Mosjøen, he didn't like what the mayor and the council planned to do in the Skjegata neighbourhood.
Put up a parking lot.
You see the older generation, such as my good enemy, the mayor, he knew a lot about the history of the town. He knew a lot, but he didn't want to make use of it, for to say so. I think it is important to be aware of the past, our heritage. You have to know things. If you do not know it, you're just speaking in the light air.
These ideas of the cultural value of the past were unusual in Europe at the time. But Jakobsen found there were others of his generation that shared his view that modernization, in the form of malls and making way for the car, should be questioned.
People who have been studying and coming home for holiday, we joined these ideas to protest against these new plans.
Opposition in the town to the levelling of Skjegata built up, eventually reaching a point in 1977 when the area was declared a conservation zone. Skjegata district was saved, but that was to prove the easy part. A broken-down district had to be revived. Architect Dag Nielsen and museums director Hans Pedersen are visiting Mosjøen's community centre, a product of 4 decades' commitment to getting the townspeople involved.
I think the whole idea depended on involving the community, because this not started as a project just for taking care of old houses. It was a means to develop the local community. And if the local community rejected this project, there would not be any project.
So for us, it's a part of a culture and the social life, I will say.
Concerts, and you see the art on the walls, all the nice paintings.
It's nice to take the children out on Saturdays to have coffee and cake. You have all the shops you need. You have exhibitions, gallery. So I think it's something for everyone. Yes.
Thanks to these youthful protesters, a time traveller from the 1860s would recognise the buildings, but not what goes on inside them. In the old boathouse, there is now a doctor's surgery. The old general store is a flower shop. Most homes retain the 19th century features. Mayor Albertsjord died in 1997. Dag Nielsen likes to think that their old foe might have been pleased that his plan to turn Sjogata into a parking lot had never been realised.
Yes, from the lower street we have a look towards the marketplace, where we also see the big general store that came up in 1975 and actually made the turning point in local opinion. Then it stood there for everybody to see how this area would be if it was redeveloped. So we have to be thankful for that building, and it's almost an important historic monument just to tell the story